is to strengthen the capabilities of journalists in this part of the country to be able to do their work more effectively, especially in this not so glamorous area of journalism, this area that requires a bit of hard work, a bit of organization, a bit of persistence to show that it can be done, they can do it, and then the result is unbelievable. Because when you do a successful investigative report, you find that it reverberates, it has impact. Those in authority sit up, they do something. You remember the example given earlier today about the journalist who did the story about the Sokoto degrees. You saw that instantly the government was embarrassed to the extent that, again, it now uses a sledgehammer to kill a fly instead of them to isolate that particular university and say, let's investigate and find out exactly what is going on. They just generalized and said all these Benin Republic universities will be sanctioned and those who studied in those universities will not be recognized. So, but at least it's a starting point.
So the Northwest is actually today facing a lot of security issues. Do you think journalists are doing enough in the coverage, so using investigative journalism to uncover some of these issues?
Well, given the difficulty of the circumstances, I would say they are trying, but they can do much more than that. Some of the allegations flying around, they ought to have investigated them. Some of the allegations that we see now are left to politicians to make, and then they are not substantiated. Like in Zamfara, where there is a brickbat between the sitting governor and the former governor who is currently in the Ministry of Defense, where there are allegations that the former governor may have been too close for comfort with some of the bandit leaders. So those are some of the things. I know it's difficult, but some of the things can be investigated and the facts of the matter established. And then I know by now most Nigerians are tired of the doom and gloom every day about killings, about abductions, about murders and what have you. But I think still it's our job. We need to hold up the mirror to the society to see itself so that it can make the necessary corrections to put things right.
So today, anyone with data and smartphone call himself a journalist. What would be your advice to professional journalists in terms of doing the right thing, especially to deal with fake news?
Yeah, to up there again, because the citizen journalists are no journalists. They don't know about establishing the facts of the matter. They see something that looks like one thing, and then they assume it is that. But a journalist will have asked questions. When you see an accident scene with people lying motionless, you don't jump and say those people are dead. You have to get either a medical person to establish if they are dead. You need a police report. I mean, if you are an eyewitness, you can still report the fact that the accident happened. But then where you are not sure, as we know, in journalism, you leave out. But the unprofessional people don't know that. So it is up to us, the journalists, to up our game, because no matter what, in democracies, good journalism is still relevant, it still matters, and is a very important part of democracy. So without journalism, you won't know what is happening in government. There will be a cloak of silence. Then the big companies will be doing a lot of atrocious things that they can get away with.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Since the newspaper came as a newspaper that we used to buy and read, we have always regarded the Daily Trust as the voice of the voiceless, as a channel for ensuring that this nation continues to survive and continues to prosper. I have also watched with admiration the growth of the Daily Trust family, how it has metamorphosed from a simple, maybe daily newspaper and has now grown to a very large conglomerate. I had the opportunity some 2 weeks back to visit the headquarters of the organization in Abuja, And I must tell you, I was really pleased to see how the organization is growing from strength to strength. Having them here to organize this training is indeed something that we must all be happy and proud about. And for us in the government, perhaps when you see maybe a training being organized for investigative journalists, you get a little bit jittery. But it's all for the good of the nation. We know that, like what my brother said, we are in office for a given time, and we must make good use of the opportunity that God has bestowed on us. And I must tell you that the government of Sokoto State is doing just that. Governor Ahmed Aliyu, even this morning, is adding another feather to his cap with the commissioning or the commencement of the sale of essential foods, especially rice, at subsidized prices. We are happy to know that already the price of rice has begun to fall, and we are committed to bringing it further down in the interest of the masses. So while I entreat all those here to make sure that they make good use of the opportunity being afforded by the Daily Trust family, I give you my message of goodwill, and as I hope that at the end of this training, we will have more versatile.
Well, I expect to get a deeper knowledge about investigative journalism, especially as far as broadcast is concerned. It's easier for people in print and online. For those of us in broadcast, you know what it means to have your equipment, to get those evidence, to actually do the report is always difficult, especially for those in television. How can I do this? What are the tactics involved? How can I actually utilize the equipment? What kind of equipment can I actually utilize to get this evidence? We see this with BBC, Al Jazeera, and others, for instance. But of course, I think it boils down to actually having the equipment and knowing the tactics.
Okay, Daily Trust Foundation is here to train journalists on investigative journalism. As we all know, this is the northwest part of the country, where I think we encounter a lot of security challenges that need to be investigated deeply and reported. And a lot of the journalists here lack the knowledge to report on those issues. I believe with this training, we will be equipped with enough knowledge to be able to investigate and report accurately as journalists.
This is a nice training, as we can see. Daily Trust Foundation, I'm eager to be this training because I believe it's going to be useful for me and for my reporting. As a journalist, you know, we need to investigate before reporting so that we come out with fact stories. You know, in Sokoto, and let me just say north-west of the country, we are having a lot of issues of banditry, kidnapping, rape. So before giving any stories, we need to investigate